we cast down our idols. Give us clean hands, give us pure hearts. Let us not lift our souls to another. Give us clean hands, give us pure hearts. Let us not lift our souls to another. Oh God, let us be a generation that seeks your face. Oh God of Jacob. Oh God, let us be a generation that seeks your face. Oh God of Jacob. Give us clean hands, give us pure hearts. Let us not lift our souls to another. Give us clean hands, give us pure hearts. Let us not lift our souls to another. Oh God, let us be a generation that seeks your face. Oh God of Jacob. Oh God, let us be a generation that seeks your face. Oh God of Jacob. Oh God of Jacob.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. Good morning. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to visit your community here and share something. Hopefully because of me, and if not, despite of me, I hope God can speak to you this morning. So, yeah, as you can see, the title of the message today is, I have so many doubts. Am I going to spend the next half an hour moaning about all the things I really struggle with and, depress you and with my pessimism and faithlessness? Maybe. And as Chris invited you earlier, I hope you have brought your doubts with you as well this morning, because I feel like we do have a lot. Why do we need to hide that? Sometimes I feel like we don't want to let people know that we are insecure or uncertain about things. We want to put on a kind of confident, faithful appearance. We want to convince people that we're a community of faith and our family is doing really well, and we're not worrying too much about things. But myself, I'm going to make a confession. I do doubt many things, and I suppose the biggest thing which I doubt really is myself. Will I pass my exams? I'm also a student at the moment. I submitted some essays, and the school holidays have just broken up. Those of us who are university students, those of us who have just done A-levels or GCSEs or maybe just mock exams. This is going to be a nervous summer, because later on, during this summer period, we'll get an envelope or something posted online, or maybe something posted through the letterbox or an email, giving us some important numbers or letters which might dictate our future quite considerably. And I don't know how I did. I thought I did well. Maybe some of us thought we did well, but I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if I worked hard enough. I don't know if I'm the right material for the thing whichever I'm studying or the exam which I took. I doubt my ability there. I kind of lack confidence in that respect. I need to convince myself, no, I've been working hard, I've tried, and just wait and see. But it's something I do worry about, and I think something perhaps many of us might doubt, might worry about. But I doubt many other things as well. I doubt my career. How many of us are in a career, in a certain position at work, and we feel maybe maybe we're working above our potential, or maybe we feel nervous that there are other people working very hard here, and I might compare myself to them, and they seem very talented, and maybe I'm nervous about my position. I would doubt myself. I am in a position where I'm in a job, I'm in a career, and I'm somehow doubting that too. It's a good thing you're not the Bromley community. Can I properly pastor to them? Can I look after them? Can I be sensitive to their spiritual needs and really nourish them and give them what they need? And hopefully more than just the 80-odd members of the existing Bromley Unificationist community. But I want to serve more people than that. I really want to change this nation. And I feel God is asking me to lead a whole community in leading a revolution that can change this nation. And I don't know if I can do that. I really doubt myself in that position, which is what my job is. But I want you to reflect about your jobs as well and your positions. I don't know, maybe some of you are really confident people. You just feel like, whatever I do, I'm going to be really good at it, even if everyone else is telling you you're not. But I'm the kind of person, my personality tends more towards skepticism, tends more towards lack of self-confidence. And so I do have these doubts about myself. Now, these doubts are quite general, but as a faith community, and myself as a person who's trying to live a religious life, a life of faith, as a person who's trying to live a life of faith, there are some really fundamental things, actually, which I struggle with. Yeah, like who I am, my identity. I'm meant to be the son of God, this child of God. And most of the time, I don't feel confident about that identity. I might not even be sure about who God is, or if God is really there. I mean, how many of us have yelled at God in the middle of the night, in the middle of a field, hopefully? Oh, God, are you there? Kind of thing. Are you really there? And do you really care about me? I'm sure most of us, because we're sitting here, probably have some faith in God. I'm not going to take that for granted, by the way. There might be someone sitting here who still is yet to be decided on that point. And I want you to bring that doubt here, right now, if God exists. But how many of us have some belief that God exists, but aren't really sure about who God is? Now, we've got great scriptures, and we've got great textbooks and speeches which speak eloquently about who God might be. And maybe the language is poetic, maybe it's a little bit archaic, and maybe it's a little overwhelming. And these words don't mean much to me, actually. And so I'm really struggling to understand who God is. God, are you really powerful? Doesn't seem to be so. There's so many big problems happening in the world. You don't seem to be so powerful. And yet, we're singing songs about how powerful you are, and communities of faith tend to talk about how great you are. Are you really all loving? Will you can't love me. I'm the worst person on the earth. I've committed incredible sins and incredible crimes. You can't love someone like me, surely. I might be doubting God's love for me, and that's something I have done. What other things might we be doubting? Do we doubt that this Chonilguk Foundation Day meant anything? Did it mean anything that in February a lot of us participated in a blessing ceremony, a holy wine ceremony, and there was, in Korea there was this huge event with things blasting, with these confetti paper rockets, and it was all very impressive with, in my opinion, not so well-made videos. But anyway, maybe in Korea they were well-made, they thought so. And there's a lot of effort which goes into it, and they hype it up. And we've been Truth Father was hyping it up for 12 years, telling us, counting down every day. During Hundoke, he would ask people, how many days left until Foundation Day? He was hyping it up, and it happened. And what next? Did something happen? Are things different? I doubt that. How many of us doubt that? That Foundation Day meant something. I believe there are many big things that we could doubt in the world. Personally, I'm really doubtful about Syria. It's just a mess, and doubtful about the Middle East in general. I'm incredibly doubtful about North Korea. I'm incredibly doubtful about our government and all politicians at the moment generally. They all seem the same to me. All very two-faced and self-serving, really. They're not serving the interests of their constituents. There are so many things in the world which we could have doubted. But now I wanted us to take a little introspective look at our own faith community. And if you're not a unificationist, then please forgive me for bringing up some dirty laundry. But we as a unificationist community have some big issues to deal with. And the last 12 months really rocked us, I think, didn't they? And if you're not rocked by what happened in the last 12 months, then you really are either incredibly aloof and detached emotionally from everything, or you don't care, or you're just a really ice-cool kind of person. So, so incredibly painful things happen. Our true Father is no longer here with us physically. For how many of us was that a big deal? And was that the plan? Is that what True Father was expecting? Does that impact on who True Father is or who true parents are in terms of their messiahship or their position as true parents of heaven, earth, and humankind? What does it mean? I've been, doing some prayers, asking myself, was True Father really the Messiah? Is he still the Messiah? And then, of course, politics in the church, on an international level, on a more local level as well. I don't want to go into great detail. I don't feel like I need to. But it's deeply hurtful for me, and I'm sure it's been deeply hurtful for a lot of us, and it shook us, I think. I hope it did. And so I want us to turn around and face those fears, face those doubts that we've been maybe putting into a certain compartment in our mind or in our heart. I want us to now face those doubts and acknowledge them and feel, I'm looking at you now, I'm asking you these questions, what now? I suppose there's a number of responses that we could have towards these doubts. One is the kind of blind faith approach. Yeah? Just believe. Just believe, and everything will be... Don't worry about these big issues. Just believe. That's a comfortable option. It's comfortable because it means we just don't have to deal with those doubts. We tuck them away somewhere deep down and let them maybe turn into some disease later in life. I don't know. It's comfortable for now, but it wouldn't be comfortable later. That's my warning. I hope we don't do that. Do not choose the comfortable blind faith option. I don't endorse that. It's a very kind of foundation level kind of faith, isn't it? Just to trust and to believe. It's not wrong in itself, but as a community who wants to have a mature faith, I think we need to go beyond that. We could then choose the very critical. We could choose to be quite critical. And I think, as a faith, the word judgment has negative connotations. But personally, I think I need to be judged. I want to be judged. And this nation and this world needs to be judged. And so if there are issues and problems which are causing me to have doubts and concerns and worries, then they need to be criticized. They need to be brought up. They need to be discussed. There needs to be some constructive argument taking place. However, usually when that happens, because we tend to be emotional people, we're people with hearts, we have strong emotions, we might become maybe a little cynical, maybe a little sarcastic or overly critical. And I'm encouraging you now to face these doubts. I'm welcoming us to move towards a place where we can embrace these questions. but I also warn against becoming overly cynical. I don't want us to do that. I feel there's a fine line between skepticism and cynicism. Being skeptical says, I'm willing to question. Being cynical, I think, is crossing a line beyond which you almost become sarcastic and you just want to attack and you don't care anymore somehow. It's difficult and it's delicate. I want to share with you something from 20th century philosophy, which hopefully can help us to approach this tricky situation. This is a quotation from a French philosopher, a Protestant Christian philosopher called Paul Ricoeur. He said that beyond the desert of criticism, we yearn to be called again. Taken from his book, The Symbolism of Evil. Now that we are taking this journey, a journey of doubt, a journey of questioning, we're here in the desert now. We're in this desert of criticism. We're criticizing the things that concern us. We're criticizing those things which make us doubt, which make us insecure, which ask us questions. And we're now journeying through a desert. But this philosopher is suggesting that one day we will get beyond the desert. Actually, there's something beyond this desert of criticism which is calling to us. We yearn to be called again. We actually want to come back to faith, I think. It's comfortable to believe in things. It's comfortable to trust what's around us. We want to believe that the reality around us is real. That actually it makes sense. And whenever the reality around me doesn't make sense, that's deeply troubling. It's insecure if I'm in a position where I don't understand or accept the reality around me as something real because of some problem. So we are tackling these issues and we're going across this desert. Paul Ricoeur had a very interesting way of explaining this process. And he talked about 3 stages. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? What's the first stage? The formation stage was what he called the first naivety. When you approach something for the very first time and just believe blindly somehow. Almost like a parent and a child, a very small child. The small child cannot but trust the parent to look after it. It has no choice, in a sense, especially a newborn baby or a young infant. It just trusts its parents. It hasn't seen whether the parents have any qualifications to look after it. It just trusts that they will look after it. And in many ways, the first time we experience anything, we approach it with that first kind of naivety. The very first time I experience something, it's an amazing, maybe, or awesome experience, and I absorb everything at face value. But then Paul Ricoeur talks about a second stage. I would call it the growth stage. It's what he calls a kind of a critical look. He talks about a critical suspicion, introducing a kind of, in philosophical terms, a hermeneutic of suspicion. A critical suspicion of that thing that we first experienced. Hang on. My parents aren't perfect, and although I thought they knew everything and could do everything, I realized that actually they have their limitations. And they're not, the kind of teenage angst kind of thing. I could do a better job than that. They're doing a rubbish. They've betrayed me. They've led me in my whole life to believe that they're amazing and perfect, and now I'm mistaken, and I'm going to criticize and be suspicious of everything they do, and I'm not going to trust authority. Our society right now is really in that kind of critical suspicion of all authorities. Nobody trusts their GP to diagnose their disease. They go online and Google it first. Then they book their appointment. They walk into the GP, give them their symptoms and say, I've got this, this, and this. And then the GP says, well, I don't know if you've really got that, but here, I'll prescribe some antibiotics or some painkillers. No, I've got this terminal, life-changing illness which you haven't we don't trust authority, do we? People in society, they don't trust the police, they don't trust the government, we don't trust the educational authorities. All of our teachers, sorry if there are any teachers in the room, all of our teachers are obviously doing a rubbish job, and there's a conspiracy that the government's trying to control the education and brainwash us all to kind of keep us, I don't know. This is the climate that we're living in, socially speaking, I think. Most people are incredibly suspicious of authority. Even so, in a religious community, we're suspicious of authority, of any kind of leader. Someone is given a leadership position, a title, and you automatically suspect something's wrong. You can't trust that person anymore. Which is why I accepted to become a pastor, so no one can trust me anymore. Someone's got to take the blame, I suppose. But there's a third stage. And Paul Ricoeur talks about a second naivety. We can't be naive again. We can't experience something again. But let's take our critical suspicion, but now approach with a kind of mature openness to recognize that when we've been growing up, in fact, these things which we took as absolute truth or whatever, these stories which we thought were literal maybe we can accept, actually, maybe there are some significant symbols here. I'm not going to reject everything wholesale because I recognize there's value in some of the symbols and ideas and concepts and principles. And to throw those out with my criticism about specifics would be a shame. So Paul Ricoeur, as a philosopher, he's not a theologian or a religious leader, he's just a philosopher. But he's encouraging people to go on a journey. We see these footsteps taking us across the desert. Don't get stuck in the desert. You'll get fried there. You'll get toasted and feel very uncomfortable. And you'll just become a bitter, cynical person. You'll evaporate into a pile of salt, which is what I think happened to Lot's wife. You know, she just became very stuck in her cynicism and cynicalism and became a pillar of bitterness, a pillar of salt. No, let's not get stuck in the desert. Let's feel that yearning, feel that calling to experience something again with that kind of naivety and to have our doubts resolved. Let's believe, as a community of faith, let's believe that our doubts can then lead to greater understanding, lead to greater faith, and help us become more mature. Now, some of you might be saying, hang on, but this is just a philosopher. Come on, we can't trust philosophers. We can't even trust religions which aren't Moonies. Anyway, there's a nice picture of Paul Ricoeur, if you want to see him. Where does it say this in the Divine Principle? Page 6. The ultimate purpose of religion can be attained only when one first believes it in one's heart and then puts it into practice. However, without first understanding, beliefs do not take hold. How many of us were brought up just to believe? How many of us have been raised in our life of faith, especially by our spiritual leaders or spiritual guides, or even in our families? How many of us were told, just follow, just believe? And yet, I'm finding it really difficult to put these principles into practice because I don't understand them. I don't want our community to be a community that doesn't seek understanding. How many times have we asked a question of doubt, and in that moment we're shot down for daring to express such a thing? Maybe some of us felt like that. We saw something unusual, we saw something that didn't make sense, and we put up our hands and we said, this doesn't make sense. Sit down, you're being Cain type. Sit down, you're disuniting with your central figure. I want people to seek understanding. I want myself to seek understanding. And I want our community community to be a place where people can feel free to express their doubts? Do we feel free? Do we have a community of friends, of brothers and sisters, really, a family in which we feel confident and comfortable to express those deep concerns? Yeah? I don't see so many teenagers in the room, but, some of us are here, some of us are not yet married. When I was growing up as a single teenage boy, I was terrified of, this whole matching and blessing malarkey and keeping pure, and all of my friends at school were busy trying to have sex with all the sixth formers, and, it seems like they're having a great time, and I'm just not. I'm not having a great time, and what have I got to look forward to? I don't know. But did I have anybody to talk with growing up about those kinds of insecurities and doubts? Unfortunately not. And if there's anyone here who is having those kinds of insecurities or other kinds of insecurities and doesn't have a family or a community in which to express those doubts, I'm very worried about you, because you don't have a place to share your deep fears and doubts. I want our community, I want the Bromley community, I want 43 Lancaster Gatehead community, and I want our Unificationist global community to be a place where people can feel free to share their doubts in pursuit of understanding. And if we have the parental heart which understands, I want these people to understand. And if they're coming across maybe a little aggressively or maybe a little cynically, I can understand that there's a reason why they might be feeling like that. But I'm going to have the maturity to digest that, help them to calm down, and hopefully explain things in a way that they can understand, which will then lead to faith, genuine faith, not a blind faith, but a genuine faith. The word confidence means with faith. We can't be confident if we don't have faith, if we don't have understanding. So we need to have that understanding. We need to study the Word together. We need to ask difficult questions. And if we don't have a place to do that, I'm very worried. I'm very worried about our community if it's not like that. Let's make a community which seeks understanding and welcomes difficult questions, welcomes constructive conflict based on the trust that we all want to create a better world. So how do we seek understanding? If we don't have a community or a family or a place to do that, I'm very worried. But I've got hope, if that is our situation. Here's a little quotation from the Quran, which can hopefully give us some direction. If you are in any doubt concerning what we have sent down to you, then question those who have read the book before you. Truth has come to you from your Lord, so do not be a waverer. Do not be someone who rejects God's signs, so you be a loser. We don't want to be losers, do we? Let's question those who have read the book before you. Just trust people who are with more wisdom. It could be our elders. I hope they've read the book, or the books, or many books, all the scriptures. There are many sources of wisdom. It could be online, but ideally, we need to find a person, a human being, or a community of human beings who are reading the book with us. And maybe if you know nobody who you trust who's read the book before you, find a group of people who've never read the book. Once a week, read the book together, and then you've all read the book. And then you can share each other's perspectives. And that's what I think is called hundoke. Daily reading to study the word and reflect and digest and figure out what it means. And ideally, our hundoke meetings are being led by someone with a little bit of wisdom, maybe a parental figure or a small group leader or something like that. Someone who has parental wisdom and care for the people in the group, but also is a source of knowledge, who can hopefully give guidance when it's sought. Seek those who have read the book before you, and God will give us the answers. My wife, Natasha, she hated mathematics. And the reason why she hated mathematics was because when she was in school, the teacher taught the maths lesson in a certain way. And she put her hand up and said, I don't understand. Can you help me to understand? The teacher then repeated word for word what they just said. Excuse me, I still don't understand. There's something wrong with you, obviously, the teacher said. There's something wrong with you. And so, because of that formational damage, that trauma, she had a very difficult relationship with mathematics. That's changed recently. She's now educating David and our children and through homeschooling, and she's falling in love with maths, which is incredible because she hated it before. And that's really incredible because in teaching our children, she's in a sense teaching herself. And it's being explained in different ways, in ways that now she can understand. And that's really what hopefully people who've read the book before, it's not just someone who's read the book. Yeah, I've read it cover to cover, but that might not give you the wisdom or the knowledge to really help someone to understand what the book is trying to say. When we study True Father's words, when we're studying divine principle, when we're studying all Holy Scripture, I feel that we need to have an openness to explore different interpretations and different perspectives on what the truth means and find new facets of meaning, which is why we study the same things over and over and over and over again. I lost count of times I've read Divine Principle. Lost count after about 62. And I still want to read it because I want to find out more. And I still will sit in a Divine Principle lecture to listen to someone else teaching it to find out what they've gleaned from this incredibly rich text. And so we need to find people who have read the books and then question them. And if we are the person who's read the book, then we need to have the parental maturity to guide those who are asking. And sometimes it's legitimate, I feel, to say, I don't know. My son used to think I knew everything, and then he quickly figured out I've got a mobile phone. I just go on Google on my phone and get the answers to all of his questions. So now he knows where to get his information from. He's self-sufficient now. This seeking truth from elders, from hopefully wiser people, can guide us. But hopefully we will be guided not just to people who are wiser, but to God himself, God herself. This is what our true Father says. You must put all these universal doubts connected to you on your shoulders. Have the bravery to hand them all over to God. You must say, God, I've come with all doubts of the universe. If there is a heavenly relationship between you and me, then I trust that you will not abandon me. Please accept all these doubts and bring resolution to them. Those True Father's words on the 8th of September, 1957. True Father's encouraging us to put doubts on our shoulders. And he's telling us, guiding us, to go to God and offer these doubts to God. I'm sure that's what he did. He spent 9 years of his life questioning, why is my nation an occupied territory by a brutal regime? Why is the world at conflict with each other between these ideologies? Why is there so much fraction and division within the community of faith, which is meant to be bringing healing and restoration to the world? He brought these universal doubts to God, and he trusted that because he believed that there's a heavenly relationship, he trusted, God, show me the way, show me the resolutions, bring them to me. Asking, seeking, and knocking, if you're familiar with the Gospel of Matthew analogy. And then he got the answers. We can get the answers too. There are serious issues in the world today, and there's huge doubt in the world. I mentioned how we're living in a society which is hugely skeptical, hugely suspicious. Let's take those suspicions and those burdens on our shoulders. Even if I'm not the one doubting necessarily about those specific things, but I'm going to take responsibility for that. I've gone through my own journey of mental health, but now I've met people with serious mental health problems. And I'm beginning to take responsibility for that. I could ignore it. But there's a part of me which wants to say, here's a universal problem, a universal doubt. Nobody believes you can cure mental illness of certain kinds. I believe God is all-powerful, and I believe there is a way. So God, I'm taking this doubt, I'm taking this burden, I'm offering it to you. Show me the resolution, show me the way. I'm really upset by the way this nation and nations around the whole world are so confused about human sexuality. And so I'm doing some research as part of my master's course to figure out what the theologians have to say about it. And I'm offering this to God and saying, this is a universal doubt in society. For me, it's pretty clear. I'm pretty clear about it. Remember how earlier I mentioned how I was really scared about going to the Matching and Blessing because I really wasn't sure if it's going to work out all right, if I was going to be happy. I just get trapped into a loveless relationship with someone I can't appreciate and build a family with them and be trapped in a prison sentence. Well, thankfully, the opposite's true. I'm the most happy person in the room, I dare to say. Really happy in my marriage, and we've got nearly five little testimonies to the happiness of our marriage. So that I remember the very moment I offered that to God and said, God, I don't rationally understand how this is going to work, but I trust you. I'm going to go along with this because I believe that you want me to be happy. And I can't see how it's going to make sense, but I just trust you. And show me. I'm giving you a chance here. God, it was a bit of a gamble. You have to take a gamble to make those kinds of decisions with God, but then God rewarded me abundantly. I really won the jackpot with that doubt, offering that doubt to God. I can emphatically say absolute sex is the way forward. But unfortunately, the world can't appreciate that. I want to offer those doubts to God as well and say, there are some really crazy ideas, in my opinion, crazy ideas. I'm going to offer those to you, Heavenly Parent. Help me resolve these. We need to resolve the issues in Syria. We need to resolve the issues of our funny governments and politicians and stuff. There are so many areas of human life, education and athletics even. Some of these folks recently, these Jamaicans and North Americans, have been caught using the banned stuff. There's so many things where we need to have faith restored, where there's doubt removed, not through just saying, no, we mustn't have doubt, but say, bring the doubts, and then find the answers. So what I'd like to say as a little take-home message, you can forget everything I said, but please remember this. My doubts can lead to God. I want us as a community to bring our doubts to God, and then as a community, we will be led to God. We will be led to have a deeper, more intimate relationship with God. There is a nation full of skeptical people, kind of on the agnostic atheist spectrum. And I say they are more mature than the people who just believe blindly, because they have taken that growth stage step to try to critically engage. But they're stuck at the top of the growth stage. They're stuck in their cynicism and their criticism and their suspicion. They want to be liberated. So many people actually want to be liberated from their agnosticism, but they can't find a community who can give them answers. I want us to create a community that can provide the context in which those people can get resolution to their doubts and concerns. That through our community, through their reasonable faith, they will meet God. And this whole nation will meet God and discover a powerful, intimate relationship with God. I want all the world to discover a powerful, intimate relationship with God. And one of the ways that can happen is if people offer their doubts to God. So let's lead ourselves to God through our doubts. They're not things which we need to brush aside. Let's embrace them, but let's not let them destroy us or our relationship with God. Let's use those doubts to build a relationship with God, build a conversation with God, and then be amazed by the miraculous answers God will give us. The miraculous answers that God will give to this nation as this nation is led to God, hopefully by communities like ours who have the maturity, the spiritual maturity to engage with doubt in a constructive way. I'll end there. Please join me in prayer. Good morning, good afternoon, Heavenly Parent. We come before you as your children, enjoying this worship service together. We are praying together, singing together, enjoying fellowship with one another. We're looking forward to spending the afternoon with each other, hopefully. Many of us have started our summer holidays or are midway through the summer holidays, and we've had some really good weather and we've had some refreshing rain. These are all somehow trivial things compared to the really deep things which are troubling us down underneath. And maybe when we're on our own, we feel comfortable to talk about those things with you. Maybe we don't feel comfortable at all to talk about those things with you. But now, Heavenly Parent, we're now praying, and I pray that we will be able to ask you difficult questions. I want us to have the courage to be able to ask those difficult questions. This is something True Father said, that we need to have the bravery, the courage to come before you with our doubts. Please give us that courage now. We're terrified of being open in front of each other, and we're terrified of being open in front of you. But please reward us with our courage. When we open up ourselves in front of you with our bravery to share our questions and our doubts, please give us the answers quickly. Resolve our doubts quickly. And I pray that as a community, we will be able to then give understanding and give healing and security to our brothers and sisters of our community, and give healing and understanding to this nation. There are so many people we know. Maybe some of them we know they have doubts. Maybe some people have doubts that we don't know about. They look like they're confident people, but actually deep down underneath, they're insecure. Please give us the sensitivity as well, the parental heart to embrace all people so that they can be free to share their doubts with us, that we can be free to share our doubts amongst ourselves as a community, and that we won't hit each other down, but that we will listen and try to explain and bring resolution. Heavenly Parent, listen to our prayers now, and we look forward to the week ahead as we go through a journey across the desert of suspicion, and we're being called to understanding. Lead us to that understanding. I want to report this prayer on behalf of everyone here in my name, Matthew Hurish of the Blessed Central Family. Arju.
So if you'd like to rise, we can sing our offering song together now.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to live, and grace my fears relieved. How precious that grace appeared the hour I first believed. Through many dangerous toils and snares, I have
Join me in prayer. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for this wonderful Sunday that we've all gathered here in this morning. And we've heard a message so profound, and I believe that it's so crucial for all of us to really be brave enough to express our doubts, our fears, to really raise the questions that we have in our heart to you, Heavenly Father, and raise the questions we have about each other to each other with trust, that we can hold each other accountable and be held accountable, really by being part of this community, that we can be better than we think we are, and that we can really be honest about who we are and where we're at in our life of faith, that through sharing our doubts we can really grow, and that, Heavenly Father, as long as we have trust and love for you, that you can carry us through our darkest moments, when we feel most doubt, when we feel least hope, Heavenly Father, that you are there. And I pray that your blessing can be upon all of us here today, and we can really grow in love and hope for you. And I offer these things on behalf of all the people here, and in my name, Chris Maloney, husband of Miki Kano, a blessed central couple, Aju.
So please take a seat, brothers and sisters.